So, a new year and a new job on the Mini. This time around I am going to be having a look at the engine steadies, the tie rods that hold the engine firmly in place. On one of my previous videos, I think it was Mark Leatherland, thank you very much Mark, commented that when I revved the engine, he noticed there was excessive movement in the engine when I revved it up. And actually thinking back, when I did rev the engine, I could hear a knock and a shake, and that actually ties in with the engine moving around. So clearly that's not a good situation. The engine needs to be held steady and firmly in place so that all the parts that are bolted to it don't come loose and don't get moved or broken as the engine kind of rattles around the engine bay. So this time up, that's what we're going to have a look at. The engine steadies. We'll have a look at the state of play in terms of how much movement we've got in the engine, and swap out whatever parts are needed so that that engine is held firmly in place and it keeps in place where it should be. Let's get cracking. Right, so here we are, here's the lump. So if I just give this, that's how much movement the engine's got, which is far too much. And if we have a closer look at where the top engine mount is, we'll see what the problem is. Okay, so here we have the engine steady. Here, there's the bar, and there's the mechanism that secures it to the cylinder head. So if I just give that a wiggle now, we'll see what happens. I mean, just look how much movement we've got there in that bush. So that bush is absolutely well and truly shot at. So that's why when I'm revving the engine, it's rocking and rolling around. So that's what we need to sort out. So the top mount has got two bolts onto that clamp mechanism, and then it bolts into the top here underneath the clutch master cylinder. So we'll get some penetrating oil on these parts and then get this tie rod off and have a look at the bushes. And additionally on the Mini, as well as the top engine steady, we have a bottom engine steady, which is here, which bolts on to the bracket on the gearbox. And then bolts on to the front subframe there. So bolt through there to the subframe and one onto the bottom of the engine on the gearbox. So that's the bottom steady, and we'll have a look at that one as well whilst we're sorting out the engine movement problem. So let's get a bit of penetration fluid on those. And some penetrating fluid on that one as well. And not much room to get in, and these are 1/2 inch. Slowly work that loose. Apologies for the lighting on this. It soon loses the light these days in the middle of winter, which means even an afternoon session ends up being done by torchlight on the driveway. A little bit of a complication on the Mini Cooper RSP. This pipe work here comes off the exhaust manifold before the catalyst, because of course on the RSP cars with the catalyst, this is where the air fuel ratio, the CO meter, would connect to tune the engine. So it takes a feed off the engine prior to the catalyst to allow you to tune the engine. So if I had a gas tester, this is where I would be sampling the exhaust gas to get the mixture correct. There we go. Crusty 1/2 inch bolt and washer. So we'll work now to remove a second bolt of the front part of the engine tie rod. Again, it's another 1/2 inch. Again, there's just no room for socket sets, etc. Just nudging it around 1/4 turn at a time with an 1/2 inch spanner. It's no wonder these jobs take an age. It's a good job my time costs nothing. And of course you've got the engine earth strap that's connected to this section too. So I'm just trying to get you the best angle I can, but you can see now the bolt's coming out along with an inner metal liner of the bush. There's really not much room, clearance to get that bolt out at all. Right, so as you can see, you can just get the bolt out now, clearance beneath this breather canister. You can see that coming away now. So there we have one side, the bush fits there, and then that into the head. And as we can see now, the tie bar's free from the cylinder head. Just now, have a go at that rusty bolt. Let's see how that goes. Now, how on earth do you get anything underneath that with absolutely no space in its engine bay at all? I have no idea. Let's have a go. Right, now I'm in a dilemma, because that is one very, very rusty bolt, and I think that's just going to start rounding off as soon as I try and turn that. But yet there's no way that I can see how I can come up from below to try and get something on the nut underneath. And I don't know whether that's visible or not, but that is the shot from underneath the car up to where the bolt is underneath. And it looks like it's a nylon nut underneath. I'm just wondering if I can get some long extended arrangement to get on that nut from underneath. Getting a face full of muck as well for my troubles. Right, let's have a try at that. Again, it's just another example of a relatively simple 10-minute job that's just a nightmare on a Mini. Or is it just my Mini? I don't know. Right, just to update, so 1/2 inch socket, double extension bar from underneath the car coming up. I could manage to get that onto the nut underneath, and when I try and turn that, it's slipping. So there's not many jobs that I admit defeat on, but this might be one of them. I genuinely don't know how I can get that bolt out. I can't even get into it to with an angle grinder to kind of sacrifice it, to sacrifice the bolt and grind it off, until that engine's actually removed from the engine bay. I'm not sure how I can get to that. So I think this might be, I've lost the battle, but I've not lost the war. I think this one I might have to come back to and have another attempt at this at another stage of the renovation. I kind of thought maybe I could just replace this bush, the one that I can get to at the front, which would help things, but there's no way I'm going to get that bush and that liner out of that tie rod with the access that I've got there. So I think I'm just gonna have to put this back together, and I'm just gonna have to live with the engine movement for now until I get some research and some assistance about how this job can be done, and more specifically how I can remove that nut, that bolt holding the tie rod to the bulkhead. That's what's bringing me down. That's what's causing me to come unstuck. So what is it about Minis? A nightmare to work on. You think something so small is easy to work on, but it's the opposite. There's just no room to get in and do anything. So the bulkhead bolt is grotty and rotty. The bolt's spinning from the top, the nut's spinning from the bottom. I can't get in to kind of get a grinder on it to grind it off or cut through it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give up that battle on this one, as annoying as it is, and just ask around on the forums to see how other people have done that job. I've no doubt at some point the engine will be coming out of this Mini, and probably at that point I can address it at that point, unless I can find out how others have tackled that. So yeah, so the Mini has won that battle, but it has definitely not won the war. I shall return and have another go at that one, and with a little bit of research and a little bit more knowledge and a bit more know-how. It might have defeated me this time, and it's probably just a lack of knowledge on my part about how to go about that job, but there we are.